Many thanks for joining us. You're watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Anetta Felix. President Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated the Northeast Development Commission, NEDC, to coordinate the rebuilding of the insurgency-ravaged Northeast region. Speaking at the inauguration, the president ruled out the role of the commission while charging members of the committee to be fair and equitable in discharging their mandate. Chairman of the NEDC, Paul Taffa, noted that the commission will begin work as soon as possible.
You shall be the focal organization to assess, coordinate, harmonize, and report on all the intervention programs and initiatives that the federal government or any of its ministries and agencies are involved in the region. You must therefore constantly liaise with the relevant federal ministries, departments and agencies, states, and other developmental partners for the implementation of all programs and initiatives and proper utilization of funds released for intervention in the zone. Commence the process of resettlement and rehabilitation of internally displaced persons to their original homes or new communities in order to bring social cohesion in the zone. Shift focus from humanitarian assistance as soon as possible in all relevant areas to developmental and infrastructural projects such as reconstructions of roads, houses, educational institutions, and business premises destroyed by Boko Haram.
We look after the destitute, those people who are scattered all over the country. Then we decide when to go to our headquarters in Maiduguri, start planning the the real agenda, the master plan for our activities, and then commence with earnest what's ahead of us.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has rejected 2 bills passed by the Senate. In a letter read by Senate President Bukola Saraki at plenary on Wednesday, Buhari gave reasons for withholding accent to the Nigerian Tourism Development Authority Bill and the Nigeria Inland Waterways Authority Bill. Buhari said Section 14D, Section 32D of the Nigerian Tourism Development Authority Bill contradicts Section 413 and Paragraph 60D of the second schedule of Nigeria's Constitution. He also stated that he rejected the Nigeria Inland Waterways Authority Bill over funding and overlap of functions. Now, this decision brings to over 30 the number of bills rejected by President Muhammadu Buhari since the inauguration of the 8th Senate. Suspected gunmen have killed the traditional ruler of Bali community in Godo local government area of Sokoto State. Now, according to eyewitnesses, the gunmen who were on motorcycles first attacked the community, shooting sporadically to scare visitors. They say after residents scampered away for safety, the gunmen went to Bali police station where they burned down the building and set patrol vehicles ablaze. Afterwards, they moved to the palace of the district head where they shot him dead. The incident is yet to be confirmed by security agencies in Sokoto. Our Nigerian Army had earlier announced a ban on the use of motorcycles in 7 northern states, including Sokoto, to curb the rising spate of violence. Now, still on security, the Nigerian Armed Forces is yet to achieve the desired heights of joint force integration under a unified command structure. This note of regret is coming from the Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olunishaki, at the Maiden Defense Headquarters Training Conference holding in Abuja. In recent times, security threats like Boko Haram insurgency, farmer herdsmen clashes, banditry and kidnapping have intensified in Nigeria. As they say, desperate times calls for desperate measures, and that's why the Defense Headquarters of the Nigerian Army is organizing this conference to provide capacity training to combat the emerging security challenges in the country. At this maiden edition of the training, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Defense, Nuratu Batagarawa, says synergy is the answer.
The increasing need for joint operations within the last few years is indicative of the importance of synergy and cooperation between all arms and services in the conduct of our operations. This joint approach to military operations has been effective and result-oriented in achieving successful outcomes in addition to the single service operations. I understand that this conference is aimed at examining ways of improving our joint training with a view to improving the way we operate together as an armed forces. I'm therefore delighted at this very unique effort to brainstorm and provide actionable recommendations for improved joint training in order to better address the security challenges confronting us as a nation.
General Abayomi Olonishakin called on participating members of the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Navy, and Nigerian Air Force to utilize the training to coordinate the operations to address all security challenges.
It is noteworthy that from the entry point of an officer at the Nigerian Defense Academy through the mid-career training at the Armed Forces Command and Staff College up to the strategic level course in the National Defense College, the Armed Forces of Nigeria has strived for joint training. This informed the review of the mandates of these colleges, which on establishment were single service institutions, to conduct tri-service training. Regrettably, the emphasis on joint training in this institution have not translated to the desired level in the conduct of our joint operations. Accordingly, I implore the participants to take full advantage of this conference to broaden their horizon in capacity building, especially in the area of joint operations. I therefore urge all of us to be open-minded and be practical in our discussion as professionals in proffering solutions towards addressing our collective challenges.
The Nigerian Armed Forces are already involved in a number of joint operations, but this two-day conference aims at harmonizing their activities for the benefit of Nigeria's security. Turning to health matters now, the Senate has summoned the Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale, over the poor state of teaching hospitals in the country. The lawmakers are demanding accountability on the funds allocated to the health sector by the federal government over the years. During the debate on a motion moved by Senator David Umaru and entitled Alarming Report on Poor Quality of Poor Services in Nigerian Teaching Hospitals, the lawmakers took turns to decry the poor services rendered by public health institutions, while some lawmakers allege corruption and mismanagement of resources in the health sector. Others noted the poor welfare of health workers. After debating on the matter, the lawmakers unanimously agreed to invite the minister to explain what's been done to revive the health sector. Let's now turn to Kano State, where the House of Assembly has passed the bill for the creation of 4 additional first-class emirates. The additional first-class emirates, including Rano, Garaya and Bichi Emirates. Now, in a motion presented to the House by the Majority Leader, Bafa Baba, the House unanimously agreed that the creation of more emirates will assist in job creation, dispute resolution, community conflict resolution, among others. The passage of this bill paves way for the decentralization of the Kano Emirates Council, thereby decentralizing the power of the Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. The bill will now be passed to the State Governor, Abdullahi Ganduje, for final approval. Members of the Nigerian Labour Congress have staged a protest at the Asokoro residence of the Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, over the delay in the inauguration of the National Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF. The union is demanding the swearing-in of Frank Kokori as the head of the Social Insurance Trust Fund. According to the NLC, Kokori had been named as board chairman of the NSITF by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo about 2 years ago, but the Labour Minister refused to inaugurate the board. They further alleged that when the board was to be inaugurated on April 18, the minister removed Kokori's name from the list of members. Speaking at a press conference after the protest, NLC President Ayuba Waba called on President Buhari to intervene in the matter.
On the appointment of Kokori was appointed on merit. That I can testify. You recall also that the president was away, but we also wrote formal communication to the president. To this date, we have not received a feedback, but we have wrote officially. We have also communicated to all the security agencies. So what I'm telling you is what is in place now, and that's why we have to scale our struggle to the next level. Because you recall we gave him an ultimatum after the failed inauguration to inaugurate the board before 1st of May. It's part of the reason that he cannot attend our meeting. If he would have attended the meeting, he would have seen another side of Nigerian workers. That's a fact. Whether he has flu or he has headache or he has diarrhea is not actually the reason. He cannot attend because it's a meeting of Nigerian workers. And having treated Nigerian workers in such a manner, he cannot be there. So we are still waiting for response, but we have communicated officially, and we are still waiting for response. And yes, the need to actually follow up on those processes.
The president appointed this man. So why are you changing it overnight? Clearly, he has something to hide. And he should tell Nigeria what he's hiding. Why is the image of Kokori haunting him? Why has he decided that somebody of Kokori caliber cannot head NSITF? That is not qualified? How? He's a medical doctor, for Christ's sake. And he's in the Ministry of Labor. He's not supposed to be in the hospital?
Committing all atrocities.
So to us, this is an issue we've all resolved, we will fight. After now, we'll mobilize Nigerian workers. That this injustice must not be allowed to stand.
In other news, the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has fixed May 15 for a pre-hearing session on the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. The tribunal, led by the President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Zainab Okachua, held its first inaugural sitting on Wednesday, where it called out all the petitions one after the other. There are a total of 4 petitions filed to challenge the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari and his All Progressives Congress in the February 23rd poll. So far, 2 petitions filed by the Hope Democratic Party and its candidate Ambrose Aworu, as well as the PDP and Atiku, have been called and adjourned for pre-hearing session. While HDP's petition was adjourned for May 14, the PDP's was fixed for May 15. Meanwhile, the tribunal has warned against public analysis of its proceedings. The appeal court, it's sitting in Abuja, has fixed May 9 to deliver judgment on the appeal filed by the state governor, Boyega Oyetola, challenging the decision of the State Election Tribunal. The tribunal had sacked Oyetola and declared Senator Ademola Adeleke as the winner of the 2018 governorship polls. Senator Adeleke is the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Following this, Oyetola of the All Progressives Congress, APC, had approached the appeal court to overturn the judgment. In a hearing motion served on the respondents by the senior registrar, the court announced that it will give a ruling in the appeal on Thursday by 9 a.m. The Nigeria-French cultural relations have continued to soar with the latest collaboration in the area of art. Students of the National Arts School in Segui, Paris, and their Nigerian counterparts have been taken through a 2-week conceptual drawing workshop as part of the French-Nigeria International Exchange Program. The program ended with an art exhibition tagged The Counter-Histories of the Continent to display a collection of over 700 drawings produced by participants at the trainings held at Fine and Applied Arts Department, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and the School of Arts, Printing and Design, Yaba College of Technology. Onyadi Akinle was there and now reports.
As vague as it may initially appear, this right here is creativity at its finest. These and many more drawings and paintings is what has enticed art enthusiasts, curators and collectors to this room. Speaking of cultural exchange, nothing more could have done justice to the idea than this blend of local drums, contemporary DJ deck and makeshift drum set created with paint cans and plastics. Curator of the exhibition, Senam Okuzeto, provides more details on the idea behind the paintings and some of the collaborations that led to the program.
This project was started in collaboration with Bisi Silver at CCA Lagos, who we sadly lost earlier this year, and the whole project's been dedicated to her memory. Those are obey pears, right? And those pears are painted white by the students first, and then each student is given a plate with 1 drop of ink, 1 drop of blue, 1 drop of red, and 1 drop of yellow. And they're told they have to paint the white piece of fruit using the 3 primary colors. And the first part is they just stare at the fruit for 10 minutes, and as you stare at it, you start to see different colors. And as you start to see the different colors, you then have to find a way to very delicately, using this very fine ink, tease out a way to represent white using blue, yellow, and red. So you'll see that some of the students, very clearly, you see they painted a white fruit, even though they didn't use 1 drop of white paint or 1 drop of black paint for the shadow. So it's really an exercise about developing sensitivity in representation, and put together they become like an installation.
Senior consultant to the governor of Ogun State on cultural tourism strongly believes that the reception of art in Nigeria has greatly improved. Our opinion is re-echoed by foremost private art collector Yemisi Shilon, who says more can be achieved with exchange programs like this.
A few years ago, I don't think there were many people that had the real appreciation of art. You know, it was something that, yeah, you know, you're an artist and all that. But now it's, you can see people who are not normally even within the art world also asking about art, also going out to exhibitions. There are more opportunities for people to see the art and appreciate art, and in various forms.
If we have visits like this on a regular basis, it will help a lot in opening the minds of the ordinary Nigerians into not regarding as demonic, not disregarding art, and see the importance and the multiplier effect of art in our economic development, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of institutions, and in terms of systems.
Art, they say, is a mirror of life. But how much of our humanity does it reflect?
The idea that we have to recreate things from the past and venture it into the future. So that's the mystery behind the innovation there. So it's also fun having to capture emotions, how people from daily life move, and they have to represent that in your paper. I think it's quite a nice one for us as an artist too.
The event was held at the Mike Adenuga Alliance Française Center, which was pre-inaugurated by French President Emmanuel Macron during his visit to Nigeria. The cultural officer of the center highlights some of its proposed offerings to visitors.
You will be able to come every day here to see a French film for free. We are not competitors with other cinema, for example. We will offer something very new here. So we'll have a cinema, big library, e-library, amphitheater with concert twice a week, and we'll have 9 classes, of course, because we are also French teaching. That's our main goal. French classes for children and adults, and we'll have also Nigerian language like Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa.
The drawings from this art exhibition is expected to form part of the contributions of the National Art School Sergi in the nationwide African Cultural Season, which will be hosted in France next year. Onyi Adekunle, TV360, Lagos.
You're still watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria. We'll be right back after this break.
House the crash countries are being rescued alive from the problem now signified. Voters are on the queue to have a ballot.
Election was won, and Nigerians reacting.
Notes, some minutes say the incident has been managed.
This morning.
Welcome back. Let's now talk business with Fidelia Aguncha. Hello, Fidelia.
Hi, Aneta.
Let's know what's making headlines in business today.
Well, a lot is making headlines in business today, but I'll bring you details after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, a Lagos division of the Federal High Court has dismissed a $55 million debt recovery suit filed by the Nigerian government against Ajib Oil Company Limited, citing insufficient evidence. Ruling on the matter, Justice Mojisola Olatoregun held that the plaintiff failed to supply the requisite evidence to prove its case before the court. The Nigerian government had sued the oil company owned by Italian oil giant Eni in 2016 for allegedly underdeclaring the volume of crude oil it shipped out of the country between January 2011 and December 2014. The government had sought $55 million as the shortfall in the amount of excess crude oil lifted out of Nigeria on board the vessel of MT Cosmos. Parties in the suit had closed their case in November last year, and the court adjourned for judgment. Oil prices stabilized on Wednesday as markets remained relatively tight amid U.S. sanctions on crude exporter Iran and Venezuela. U.S. crude oil futures were at $61.56 a barrel, up by 17 cents, while Brent crude oil futures were at $69.94 a barrel, up by 6 cents. With U.S. sanctions on Iran and Venezuela in place, analysts say global oil markets remained very tight. The U.S. reimposed sanctions on Iran in November last year, demanding all countries to stop importing oil from the country. But Iran has said it will defy the sanctions and continue to export oil. Well, up next is a review of the stock market after this. Welcome back. Well, for the third consecutive day this week, the Nigerian Stock Exchange is closing in the reds as the bears tighten their grip on the market. Now, the fall has been increasing with each passing day, moving from 0.4% drop on Monday to a 0.35% decline on Tuesday, and now this, a 0.45% fall today. Well, but despite this drop, the market bread closed positive with 17 losers and 21 gainers, while 14 equities remained unchanged. And at the end of all this, the all-share index came in at 28,966 basis points, while the market cap closed at 10.8 trillion naira. Now let's look at the gainers chart. Again, topping the gainers chart is Better Glass PLC, having what I dare say is a better day than it did yesterday. So far, this equity has increased in value by more than 19% since the start of trading this week. It was also a good day for Dangote Flour and Caribbean PLC, both overturning losses seen yesterday, and they are all from the consumer goods sector, which is the only sector to actually close in the greens today. Conversely, let's now move to the losers chart. We can see that Mobil is leading the pack of losers, followed closely by Dangote Cement, Guarantee Trust Bank, and Nigeria Breweries, and they all had the worst fate today, witnessing more sells than buys. Well, in summary, we can see that the number of shares traded is on the rise compared to how it came in yesterday. It's actually coming in today at 234 million, and that was far below what we saw yesterday. The value is seen as 3.241 billion, and the deals were exchanged in 3,631 hand transactions. Actually, the FTSE is closing in the greens, just like the Dow Jones, which is also appreciating today by 0.40%, the FTSE by 0.15%, and I dare say that investors' spirit have been lifted by the success seen by the Liverpool, that's the club in England, and Theresa May even made reference to this, urging members of parliament to not give up on Brexit, saying that there could actually be a turnaround in events at the end of the day. Nikkei is still in the reds, actually falling lower, and this most likely is all because of the trade dispute between China and US. As we can see, it's not making any headway, it's not making any progress, and investors seem very skeptical on where to put their money in the Nikkei, and that's why I think the market is actually falling this time by 1.46%, much more than it fell yesterday. Well, that's it from the world of business. It's back to Annette Felix for the rest of the news.
Thanks for that, Fidelia. Good to see that, of course, the stocks globally is picking up, and sad for Nigerian stocks sliding further for a third time. Let's now turn to South Africa, where earlier today they held a presidential and parliamentary election in what's been seen as a pivotal poll after years of corruption scandals that have plagued the Rainbow Nation. The poll was predominantly peaceful, and it featured no fewer than 26 million registered voters who cast their ballot at about 22,925 polling stations. Voting began as early as 9 a.m. and closed 14 hours later. It's South Africa's sixth election since the end of apartheid in 1994 and the adoption of democracy in the country. Talking sports, Chelsea will take their appeal against a two-window transfer ban to the courts of arbitration for sport after it was rejected by FIFA. The World Football Governing Body has upheld the ban they handed Chelsea in February after an investigation into the club signing off foreign under-18 players. The rules state no player under 18 is allowed to move to a club in different country unless their parents are moving there for non-footballing reasons, or unless they're aged 16 to 18 and moving within the European Economic Area. As it stands, Chelsea can still buy players but would not be able to register them until the summer of 2020. And that's it for here on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Many thanks for watching, and bye for now.